What are these 5 non-negotiable boundaries good men must have with their wives? I'm not telling you to set the boundaries, but trying to teach you these boundaries so that you are not confused. You know the reality, and that if your wife is engaged in these behaviors, she's basically telling you that I'm thinking and planning to get a divorce. And the reason that I'm not telling you to stand up to these or that you have to do something about them is many good men don't have that strength or are not willing to take the risk of how his wife might retaliate in her wrath of him standing up to these things. And he has to be strategic in navigating if it is his goal to keep his family together and to stay. So getting into 5 non-negotiable boundaries good men must have with their wives. Number 1, it is never okay that your wife comes to you and says she is bored and unstimulated sexually and wants to open the marriage or any version of that, which allows her to have sex with another man. Again, I know that seems like duh, but the amount of men who have reached out to me or that I have talked to that this has happened is kind of astounding to know that this is not an uncommon issue in our modern day marriages. And when they're in it and confused and their wife has made them the problem, they might agree to this, trying to make their wife happy or again solve some problem that she has gaslit him into believing he is the problem. Also under this is anything she brings up of wanting to experiment or try things with other people because she never got the opportunity. Do not fall for that. This is her clearly being devious and immoral in her behavior. Number 2, it is never okay for your wife to say that she wants to have a friendship or some sort of platonic relationship with another man under any circumstances. This includes if she wants to reconnect with an old male friend from college or high school, or she wants a friendship with her high school boyfriend that she reconnected with on Facebook, or a coworker or someone on the internet, and she says they are just friends. You want to know? No, they are not just friends. This is the start of an emotional affair and very likely a physical affair. And if this is happening, she is showing you her intentions of going outside the marriage. Under this, it's never okay for her to go visit an old male friend or boyfriend. Do not let her gaslight you into thinking that that is okay. Also, under this, and number 2, it's not okay for her to try to get male attention by posting inappropriate pictures on Instagram or anywhere else for that matter. I know this seems like all of this should be very clear and of course, but this is where men get duped and fooled and think it's something they did or their fault or they are to blame because of what their wives have made them believe that this is okay. Number 3, it is never okay for your wife to not be freely open to what is on her phone and share her password. If she is withholding that from you or saying it's her property and her privacy, or she is secretly texting and messaging or going into another room to have a conversation she doesn't want you to hear, if she's on WhatsApp and has a passcode on it that you can't get into, you can know she's hiding something and has devious and immoral intentions. That is not okay, and don't be fooled or duped that anything other than where your imagination is going is absolutely happening. And do not let her tell you otherwise, or why she's doing that, or why it's innocent. It is not. Number 4, it is never okay for your wife to go on a vacation on her own. If she comes to you and says, we should go on separate vacations, I just need to get away on my own and be alone and have some space to myself. Again, she has devious and immoral intentions. This is code for, I am looking to hook up with someone and you will never know. This also includes any version of I need to go find myself. And I have an episode number 24, of when your wife wants to find herself. So number 5 of non-negotiable boundaries good men must have with their wives. It's a little different than the last 4 that I talked about, but I included this one for any dad who is watching that's trying to educate his son who is considering marriage, or any young man watching, or any man of any age who is considering marriage. Number 5, you want to know it's never okay that your wife not agree, or fiance not agree, to sign a prenup. If done well with a really good lawyer, they are very effective. And you do not want to marry a woman who is not willing to sign a prenup. The purpose is you are telling a woman, this is a serious commitment that I am making, and I am taking it very seriously. He's saying, I want to know that you're just as serious about this commitment in the marriage as I am to you. And you are finding out in this the character and caliber of woman that you are marrying. There are only 3 reasons that a woman would not agree to a prenup. Number 1, because she is solely interested in being taken care of and having financial security. Number 2, she's emotionally unstable and immature. And number 3, it's showing the degree of her selfishness and self-centeredness. And if she's any of these 3 and not willing to sign a prenup, there is a high risk of divorce, and she is going to be on the high end of the spectrum of woman ways that I talk about. So men want to be looking for, how is she going to gaslight you that this isn't a good thing and that you are somehow wrong and bad for suggesting it, or insensitive. So those are the 5 non-negotiable boundaries good men need to have with their wives, and knowing what is never okay or acceptable. That especially with the first 4, if those things are happening already in a marriage, the marriage has failed and your wife has no intentions of re-engaging and making the marriage work and solving the issues. So remember, the purpose of this is for good men to know these are unreasonable. And of course, any man listening who's on the outside of this is saying, this is dumb. Of course, they're unreasonable. But this is what a good man gets trapped in, of believing it's somehow okay. And you don't want to be a fool to what's going on, or thinking that if your wife wants to do any of these things, that it's somehow going to solve some sort of problem in the relationship or solve her unhappiness, and things are going to be okay. It is only going to get worse from here. The marriage is already over. But if a good man is choosing to stay, to make it work, to make it the best it can be, typically for his kids, then you have to know these are the behaviors happening, what your wife is telling you in them, so you can be in the reality and not be a fool to what is going on. Some men can put their foot down and stand up to their wives in these and rock the boat. But some men will not, because they're weighing the risk and being smart and strategic of what do I need to manage and embrace the suck to keep this together and make it be as stable as it can be. Because many men will choose to go along, to get along, to keep the family together for their kids. But again, you want to be grounded in the reality of it and know that that actually takes a lot of strength. And to preserve your own mental health, your own sanity, you have to do it from a conscious place of knowing why you are doing it and navigate it from that place of taking responsibility for your choice and knowing why you are doing it.